Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Bob Rock, and this is the B Rock RC Show, a live podcast for the drifter by a drifter. I must apologize for going live here on Facebook as opposed to YouTube. I know a lot of you guys are probably going to my YouTube channel, but for some reason I can't get it to work via my phone. I don't know what the hell is going on. It's just this thing is just driving me crazy. So I have to switch up to Facebook and try and make it work from there. So how's everybody doing? What you guys are up to? How's the weekend? Did you guys get up to any drifting? Any projects? Just let me know in the. Hey, what's up, Wolf? What's happening on your side of the world? Let me know. Yeah, again, I apologize for the bad video, but believe me, in the next week or two, it's definitely gonna get better. I'll be doing the podcast a little better on YouTube, so you guys don't have to worry about that, about any uh, technical difficulties or technical issues again. Um, which reminds me, still shut down here. Oh, geez, that's crazy, dude. That's crazy. This side, things have relaxed a little bit, um, but it's not as free as what we would like it, you know. Um, so, but we're making do. We're trying to get things back up and running again. So it's really going to be a very interesting year, to be honest, for drifting especially. And I think for those of us who are able to get out and drift, we really should just be out there, just creating content, putting out videos. I mean, we got. um I mean, the guys from all over. I see the guys in Japan. They doing their thing. Then some guys in Belgium, if they have private tracks or access to private tracks, I see they doing their thing. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, like my friend Rich, Young Cloney, the Team 420, they doing their thing. So that's pretty awesome. Um, so yeah, man, I had a few things lined up to chat about, and let's try and make it an interesting one. Um, I would really have loved to do this on my YouTube channel, directly on the YouTube channel, but well, it is what it is. So I'm just gonna roll with it, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. First off, I just want to give a huge shout out to my sponsors, RC Mart, DS Racing, um, One Up Racing, and of course, Team Jordan, uh, Assad. Thank you, my bro. Uh, well, not exactly a sponsor, really, but but he is. Uh, anyway, we move on from there. So, what have we lined up for today on today's episode? Um, Firstly, and I know this is going to be a bit awkward, but I finally managed to finish my beast mode chassis. Ta-da! And for everybody who's just joined in, this is the B Rock RC Show, a live podcast for the drifters by a drifter, uh, where we discuss everything in and around the world regarding RC drifting, and we keeping it RC drifting only, well, as much as possible. So yeah, first up, I know, I've posted this over and over for the past few days, but I mean, this chassis is so good. It's really really that good. Hey Perry, what's up, man? Thank you for joining, and for everybody who's just joined in, thank you so much for the support. I really really appreciate it. What's up, Gavin? Dank, what's happening, man? Geez, that's hectic. You know what? To be honest, I gotta give it up to you guys out in Europe and the US. For you guys traveling like 2 or 3 hours just to get to the track. At this side here, I'd say some guys travel maybe a max an hour. Uh, and even then, that's like very few. There's like maybe one or two guys. Mostly the guys are like between 20 minutes and 45 minutes away from a track. So it's really not that bad. Um, but yeah, back to the beast mode YD2. I'm sure you guys, a lot of you guys have seen the post I made. I took some pretty cool pictures. Well, maybe not pretty cool, but decent, good enough pictures of this chassis. It really is a one of a kind and very, I'd say it's well thought of. All the parts fitting very nicely together. And like I said in my write up, you really really need to do this uh, with the manual in front of you. Hey, what's up, Nevs? The Nev bomb has decided to join me. Um, yeah, though. So, like I said, you really need your manual to in front of you to put this together. It can be a little bit tricky if if you try and wing it like how I attempted, but it it's really well thought of. So I'm really looking forward to putting this on the track. It is I did a pretty quick test around the house, and it's performing like it should. And I generally gauge how well my tune is at home, so that I know how well it's going to perform on the track. And so far, it's it's performing even better than my old chassis would. So that's definitely a big positive about that. Um, and yeah, the options and the amount of adjustability for that's offered on a beast mode chassis really really is impressive, especially with regards to the motor mount and the amount of motor positions you have. So you can really fine tune that weight shift. So that's I'm trying one position, so I'm gonna try a few more and see which position would work out the best for me. The ESC I did mount at the rear, but the beast mode comes with an upper ESC mount. I don't know if you guys can see this. Okay, let me try and get it. Okay, so if there we go. So you see, that's the upper ESC mount right there. Don't stare at the ESC too hard. So normally in my old chassis, I had the diffuser installed here and with the ESC mounted here. So it gave a low center of gravity. It made the switching a little bit more predictable, a little bit more slower. Um, so now I've got the ESC on the top. So I'm quite interested to see how the car is going to perform now with the high center of gravity. So looking forward to that. I think it's going to be lots and lots and lots of fun. So I will definitely be bringing you guys some videos and perhaps a little bit more, just a little bit more feedback on the performance. So I think lots of you guys will be interested with that. And then I had a very interesting conversation with a few guys on one of the worldwide groups. I think it was yesterday. Yesterday, so there was a question posted about where somebody asked about a programmable servo, and I can't exactly recall the question, But it just sparked a thought in me, and it just made me wonder, like, how do we really need? Is it really necessary to have a programmable ESC? Programmable servo. Is it really required for high level RC drifting, high level comparative drifting? So we gotta. So I asked one of the very technically sound RC drifters around. He's also been doing a lot of the write-ups on the net. He goes by the name of Marcus. I don't want to say his surname in case I butcher it, but I think let me try. Masanori, Marcus Masanori. I think you guys know who I'm talking about. So he's done a lot of very technical, very very helpful articles that that helped us tune each part of the chassis where it came from. ESCs to the suspension to the steering. He had a really nice he had a really nice series of articles which I for one have found very very helpful. So Asif, do we really need a programmable ESC servo? Why am I only saying ESC? ESC is already programmable. Do we need a programmable servo for high level competitive drifting? So I'm of the opinion that it's not necessary. And then I my intention when I asked that question was just to spark conversation and just to see where it leads. But the thing is, he gave such a comprehensive answer that it sort of ended of the conversation right there. Um, so basically, he says it's not really required, or not necessarily you need a programmable server. Okay, decent. What you say, boy? Um, so yeah, like I was saying, it's not. He says it's not really necessary or required for high level drifting, but for those who are like really technically minded, or really know what they're doing, just the idea of having that amount of control, or having that amount of options to uh, program your servo so it reacts just exactly the way you want it to, is a big bonus. Um, and I can't disagree with that. I think I do understand that part of tuning, that for those who are really technically minded, or who really want to absolutely fine tune their chassis, any amount of adjustment options or programmability that they can get their hands on, you'd want to do it. It makes complete sense. I mean, I'm not at that level. I am nowhere near that league, but I can appreciate and understand where they're coming from. So, how many of you guys are using programmable servos? And with that being said, what level of performance increase have you guys seen? Have you, do you really fully comprehend the whole programming of the ESC, from the speed to the return, endpoints? Well, I mean, the endpoints is pretty much something basic which you gotta learn right at the beginning of when you are tuning your chassis. So that's different. That's something you gotta learn either way, whether you have a normal servo or whether you have a programmable servo. So Yeah, it will be interesting to see what the what the survey is, or should I say, what the polls are. What do you guys use? I know everybody started off on a regular servo, and lots of guys have either went onto a programmable servo because they wanted something or they needed a new servo, or they just joined the trend. Now, with that being said, do you really want to? Are you really one of those guys that follow trends, or are you one of those that makes use of the newer technologies because it's available and you see the benefit in it? Or are you just like, you know what, I'm getting this new servo because it's the latest thing coming out from this manufacturer and it's gotten great reviews and this thing's the bomb and I just want to use it. So let me know what you guys think. So we have a few comments here which I'd like to just read. So Wolf says he uses them in 5 of his chassis. Program the PWM endpoints, centering of the horn, damping, and speed. Okay, interesting. And how have you found them? I mean, are you enjoying uh, the idea of being able to program even your servo? And how has that improved your drifting? Okay, so Perry says never tried it, so can't say if it's better or not. If you have it, you learn to work with it. If you don't have it, you won't miss it. That is actually a very good point. And Perry, I must admit, I'm in the same position. I haven't tried using a programmable ES servo as yet, so I really can't give a fair comment to say whether it's better than the regular servo or not. But what you said does make a lot of sense. You won't miss it if you've never tried it, and if you do have it, you will learn to work with it. So yeah, I mean that makes yes, I mean that makes complete sense. Let's see. Wolf says I do enjoy it, but it's more because you can, and I enjoy the technical side. There you go. This is one of the things that I've been saying. So you get all. I always say you get all sorts of people to make the work, and um, the same with RC drifting. You get all sorts. You get those who will just splash out because they can. You get those who can but do it because they love it and they enjoy it and they know what they're doing. And you get the guys who know what they're doing and they must have it because they know the benefit and they know how much it can increase their performance. And then you get the guys who just want it just because, and it's a trend. So like Wolf says, so he's tried it and he's enjoyed it. He likes it because he can, and he understands the workings and the technical side of being able to fine tune even your servo. So that's brilliant, man, and more power to you. Let's see, let's see. Okay, my man Rashid says, I want to get into drifting on a real tight budget for me to try and see if it's for me. It just so happens that that is on my list of things to chat about. So if you hang around a little bit, we're gonna get into that, and I'll explain to you and the rest of the listeners what you're looking at. I'll give you a few options. Uh, I'll also give you some options that are better suited for the South African economy. The guys from overseas, you'll understand once I start chatting to you about that. Okay, hey Jeffrey. Okay, so Jeffrey says I find it is a benefit being able to fine tune my settings. I find the biggest advantage to adjust the speed and stretch it to handle as I want it. I currently run all Sanwa electronics. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Yeah, bro. Listen, like I said, I'm gonna get to that portion of the show. So just hang tight. I'm gonna get to it very, very, very soon. Usually I write down, I plan out my whole show, so I go through each thing. Sometimes I get a bit sidetracked, but I generally I go through all the points. So don't worry, I am gonna get to you, and I will personally help you out, my man. Don't you worry. I'm gonna assist you as much as I can. Um, so yeah, back to the conversation at hand about programmable servos. It's nice to see you guys giving feedback on what you guys are using and how it's benefiting you. So at the moment, I'm using the OMG an OMG low profile standard standard servo, and I must admit it's been performing really well. I haven't had a day's problem with the ESC. It works well with my gyro, and maybe for the guys in Europe, you'd recognize the the gyro. So for me, I think it's made by an old friend of mine. Ah, damn, you can't see it, but basically, it is it's an RC Pro Shop Lasagashi gyro, and this thing is just it's been a beast. It hasn't given me any problems whatsoever. No wobble, nothing. There were a few times I ran it at 100% and no problem at all. And then yeah, for a while I was actually running 90% gyro, and this thing was just handling like no man's business. So now obviously I turned it down a little bit, so just to improve my driver skill over the electronics. So I think that's also very important when it comes to drifting. As much as you have really good electronics and a really good machine, there is no substitute for driver skill. You can have the best of the best, and it doesn't mean that you're going to perform well. It just means that it's going to be a little bit easier for you to drift, but it doesn't necessarily give you an edge. So you want to be able uh, to make full use of that awesome electronics that you have. So you got to put in the time. If you put in the time, you're gonna reap the rewards. So it's all on you guys. It's all on you. I think quite a few of the new guys that come into the hobby um, and buy really good gear from the beginning, they don't or they have a false sense of expectation. And just hear me out. The reason I say that is because they buy, let's say, they go for the Yoko, maybe the SX3 or the SX2 perhaps. Then they go all out Yoko electronics, or maybe they go with overdose electronics, or maybe Senwa, something high end, and they put the car down and they still can't quite get it right, and they get frustrated. It's all about the time, man. You've got to give yourself time to learn these things. Okay, so Wolf says I run all OMG electronics, Drifter OMG version 3 gyros and Predator callers, touring car Predator. Very nice, bro. Very, very, very nice. It sounds like you got quite a beast of a system. Yeah, man. Lasagashi. This thing has not failed me once. It's so solid. They really did a good job with that gyro. But then again, to be fair, I haven't tried many other gyros. I haven't tried the V4, the Yoko V4, or that. I think that's about the best gyro we have locally. To get any other gyros into SA is firstly expensive, and now with the COVID and restricted shipping, it's like even more expensive. So it's ridiculous. I mean, I'd love to go for the GYD 500 or the 550, um, or maybe the KO Pro or the Dias. Am I saying that right? Dias, Diaz. Which one sounds better? I think Diaz. I don't know, but you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, man, the shipping is like insane, literally insane. So at the moment, it's making things very difficult for us to get the specialized or the higher end electronics into the country. At the moment, we have a fantastic local dealer for Yokomo products, and to some extent MST as well. Donsday, Richard from Donsday, he's uh, he's been at the forefront of bringing us the the getting us into the Yoko market, and it's really been a blessing having a local hobby store like Don's Day around. So big up, we continue supporting him. Hashtag local is lekker. I always say, I must say this in a in my yeah in my podcast. What's loves, brother? Good to see you. Thank you for joining in, man. Yeah. So I always say this in my podcast. Local is lekker. If you haven't heard it before, for the guys overseas, lekker means like really good, awesome, fantastic, the bomb. So the term was coined to help promote local investments in our local industry. So that's how that tagline came out and that hashtag came out. But it has so much of relevance now, not just locally but globally, and especially at a hard and tough time that we have these days. Support your local hobby shops first before looking elsewhere. We want to see our local hobby shops and our local tracks still running once everything comes back to normal. Well, Wolf, I won't say no. I won't say no to that. So for the guys that just joined in, thank you so much for all your support. This is Bob Rock, and this is the B Rock RC Show, a live podcast for the drifters by a drifter. Thank you, and I must thank you again for to all the guys that's constantly supported the podcast from the beginning, from season one. Season one, we managed to do 20 episodes, 20 podcast shows, which I've all uploaded onto YouTube, and I started season two with a video podcast, which I thought would be, I think people would appreciate a little bit more, and I'm also enjoying it a little bit more. I wish I could give you more energy and perhaps be a little bit more funny than I usually am, like usually am during the days. But hey, it is what it is, man. Now on to the main thing. To my man Rashid, I'm sorry I took so long to get to your part of the show, but oops, sorry for that. But here we are now. So Rashid commented earlier in the show asking about he'd love to get into RC drifting, but he's like on a super tight budget, and how can he get into it without breaking the bank and seeing if it's something that he would love to do. So I don't know how, or I'm not too familiar how the guys out overseas in Europe and everywhere else promote. Um, guys, hold on 1 minute. Kids, kids. Sorry about that. So, like I was saying, let me gather my thoughts again. Okay, so Rashid, our man from a good friend of mine, wants to get into RC drifting, but he's on a super tight budget. I'm not sure how the guys overseas promote RC drifting to the new guys, but here we have a very unique situation where our economy is like neither here nor there. Well, it's more like neither anyway. Oh my god. Okay, guys, I will be back. Just give me 2 minutes. I will be back very very soon. Okay, okay, I am back. Ah, I am back. Sorry about that. Absolutely ridiculous. This is what happens when you have kids. At any time, you gotta be ready for whatever it is that's. Okay, so let's get back to it. Let me gather my thoughts again. Okay, Rashid, here's what you do. I would suggest you look at the second-hand market first. Look for something that's easily available, you are able to find parts for, and something not high end that's gonna really confuse you when you start drifting. The other thing you need to remember is that it's something new that you're starting, so you have to give yourself time to learn how to drift. You're not going to get it right the first time. You're not going to get it right the second time. Even the third time, you're probably not going to get it right. But what's going to happen is that each time you are going to get better at it, and that is what we want. We want you to get you want to improve on your drifting each time you go out. So there's a few basic training techniques you can do. So there's things like figure eights. You use cones to do figure eights. That'll teach you a lot of throttle control. I think that's the biggest thing, throttle control. So um, yeah, a basic car, man. Again, like what I was saying, I don't know how the guys overseas promote RC drifting to the new drifters. Hmm. It's an odd sound outside. Okay, it's fine. But here we have an abundance of all-wheel drive cars. It's not my particular favorite, but it's definitely something to get guys interested in, and just to get an idea uh, of what drifting is like. Even though we know it's power sliding, so uh, I normally I suggest things like a TTO1, the D type, TTO2, D type, sprint to drift. I know there's gonna be guys, I'm gonna get flack for that, for the sprint to drift. I know. But personal experience, I've seen it bring a lot of smiles to a lot of people, and uh, I've seen them perform really well. Like my friend Llewellyn, who I started the East Coast RC Drift Club with. He spent a lot of time on his chassis, just developing it into a strong CS chassis. And I don't know how much of weight my words hold, but he made the chassis work, and it ran brilliantly, and he was able to get a nice angle on it because he spent time researching and modding it for more angle, and also getting the right gears together for to get a good amount of CS. And he really did well. He genuinely did well. And then after a while, obviously, then when rear wheel drive started picking up, then he picked up rear wheel drive, and now we all on it. I also started off with the 50/50, went on to, and then went on to CS. So Rashid, my man, um, look at the second-hand market. This side, the second-hand market, you can pick up ready-to-run cars from anything like from 1,000 rand upwards. So I'll message you a bit later, and then we can have a chat about it and see where your budget lies. So whenever anybody asks me they want to get into RC drifting, and uh, or how much are they? They want to get a chassis and ABC and XYZ. So the first thing I ask them is, and I think this is a few tips which you guys can use as well when you're trying to promote or trying to get people into the hobby. I always ask them, what do they want to do with the RC drifting? Do they want to drift socially, or do they want to drift competitively? Then what's your budget? I think that's the biggest thing, the budget. You got to have some amount of money in your mind, or some figure to say, okay, I'm gonna spend this amount, or I have this amount of money to spend on an RC car. So that's very, very important. um, and then I asked him, okay, so are you looking for something entry level, intermediate, or perhaps you are one of those kinds of people that likes to get something uh, proper right in the beginning and work from there. So because you get all sorts of guys who love all sorts of things, and then I base my advice on the answers I get from there. So for all the guys that wants to or are being asked those kinds of questions, that's definitely how I would approach it. Um, yeah, and and I've helped a lot of people in that way, and I think it also brought a little bit of perspective when they started thinking a bit more. Because sometimes people do things on a whim, and they perhaps they see a video on YouTube or Facebook or somewhere, and they're like, "Damn, nah, I want to do that." Okay, so let me see how can I get into it, and then you start digging a little deeper, and you're like, "Oh, okay, this is like worth the same price as a small car." Because in reality, our RC cars, if you go into the more competitive and the higher end side, it really is worth a small vehicle. So you gotta just remember, pace yourself. Don't don't sink yourself all the way in straight away. Just take your time, do one thing at a time, and everything will be fine. So yeah, well, Rashid, I hope I managed to give you some feedback on that, and let's hope that we can get you up and running. And for anybody else that's also interested in RC drifting, just hit me up, and I will do my best to help you. Um, so yeah, and I must apologize, guys. That little break in the cast really broke the momentum of the whole podcast. But you know, when it comes to your kids, uh, nothing else matters. You will stop and do whatever it is you're doing for the sake of your kids. Unfortunately, it was one of those times when I had to perform daddy duties. So I do apologize for the break in the podcast, but uh, like I always say to my boys in the club, family comes first. So I hope you all understand. Um, so, which leads me to the last portion of the podcast, which I wanted to talk about, uh, and this is away from from the, how can I put it, from the entry level or beginners sort of range that the guys here in SA are more accustomed to. And for this next segment, I want to give a big shout out to Perry from Tory Circuit for providing me with this lovely layout and lots of info. Um, he's also provided this info in Dutch, and if you know anything about South Africa and our language of Afrikaans, you would know that Dutch and Afrikaans have a number of similarities. So, on one, I got on one mind, I would love to try and pronounce or read out some of this stuff, but the thing is, the pronunciation in Dutch and Afrikaans is also a little bit different. But I kind of understand a little bit of what they're talking about. It's all good, Perry. It's all good. I kind of understand it because I suppose that that's because of my understanding of Afrikaans, and it's really similar. So what I'm talking about is this layout here. Sorry, I'm going to block my face for a little bit. You can't see anything here, but I'm going to read out some of the stuff here, and I know it's reversed. But I'm going to try and get permission to upload this to one of the groups, and then I'm sure it's basic. What a slap in the face! It's basic. I'm just kidding, man. Um, but yeah, I'll hit you up, and I'd like for us to pin this to one of the groups so that guys have an idea of what they're getting into. So basically, what this list is that the guys at Tori Circuit had put together is just some costs for some of the RC drift gear that you're gonna come across, and this is aimed at everyone from beginners right to like pro level or competitive level. Let's do it that way. So we have here the list shows and is broken up into categories. So we got basic plus. Uh, Basic plus involves the some MST products, or should I say the MST chassis. The other basic plus is a Yokomo chassis, and then for the series we got uh, the higher end Yokomo chassis. I'm sure we can add a couple others, a couple other higher end chassis as well. There is one more category. I see it got cut off on my print here. It's like the Sirius plus plus plus. So that's like the I'd say the highest end chassis that we can get and the pricing. Obviously, that's excluding some of the high end rare parts that are available and that guys uh, get to install in the chassis. And by that, I don't only mean the overdose parts. I'm talking like HRC. Uh, Ray tail slider parts, Ray wrap up necks parts. Although, if you compare, wrap up necks is fairly affordable in comparison. But yeah, man, the high end, like the HRC stuff, is all limited edition, super high end, super expensive, and surprisingly, this those things get sold out like it's Black Friday. Okay, so with the basic, and I'm just gonna read out a little bit here. So for the basic, we're talking like from beginner right to the competitive level, and it's just a rough idea. Obviously, you can chop and change certain things, and you can shop around. So for the basic, you're looking at about 510 euros. Although I would think that you could you could bring that cost down a little bit depending on what you choose. Like some of the electronics that's listed here, you could change to try and do something a little bit cheaper. Obviously, uh, when this list was put together, it was the intention was to put the best for the best performing for the price that you can get. So thanks again to you guys. We really appreciate you guys doing something like this. It's very handy. So on the basic, we got the Sakura D5 for around 70 euro. Uh, let's see, and then we got the Oniseki Shura motor, the 10.5 ton. I have that. I have that motor. I've never found any trouble with that. That's around 45. Okay, so just okay, let me finish up and then I'm gonna just read out what Perry has to say. Then we got the Sky RC Toro 120 amp ESC. Yes, there's a thumbs up from me. I've only heard good things about that. It's a good entry. I won't say, yeah, I'd put it in an entry level category as well. Performs really well, and it's a really good bang for buck. Then we got the Oniseki digital servo for 45 euros. Yeah, that's not bad. And the Oniseki gyro. Yeah, I've heard pretty good things about that Oniseki gyro, even though it's just an entry level. But I hear that it's quite good. Sanwa MTS, very nice radio to start with. Uh, Sky RC S65. I I'm assuming that's the charger. I think. Hey, what's up, Rowan? Good to see you, my man. Thank you for joining in the podcast. Again, for those who have just joined in, this is the B Rock RC Show, a live podcast for the drifters by a drifter. There's my main man, Rob, who's just joined us from the other side of the world in the United States. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining in. Really appreciate it. Yeah. And then, okay, so the Charger Sky RC S65. For me personally, Sky RC has probably one of the best performing chargers around. I've had my Sky RC, I think it's like a, I can't even remember the model, but this thing has never failed uh, for the last 2 or 3 years, and it's like it functions as though I had just bought it the other day. Brilliant. And then for the battery, we got the 5500 milliamp Genza S 120C. Perfect. That's gonna give you plenty playtime, plenty power all the way through. You're gonna love it. I love Genza's batteries personally, and ever since I started using Genza's batteries, I've never had any issues with power. So it's really good. So I think for for the basic package, just as an idea, I think that's pretty spot on. Again, like I said, it's all up to you. You can chop and change a few things, but realistically, 500 euros to get a good basic setup sounds about right. Okay, so Perry says the thought behind the different levels was to show what it takes when people that start saying, I like to start out right from the start, or I only like the best stuff. Yeah, that actually goes back to what I was saying about you get certain people who want to get good stuff, who are just particular in that way that they want to get good stuff from the beginning. So couple that with what you have just said, Perry. I think this it just gives makes more sense with this list here. Brilliant. So with the basic plus, so now we're getting into a little better territory here. So with the basic plus, we got the RMX2. And remember now, this is the kit form. This with regards to the RMX, it's not the ready to run kit that's available, and we're going to get to that. So this is something that we're putting together. So for the basic plus, we got the RMX2 at 200 euro, the Oniseki Shura, the SkyRC ESC, the Oniseki Servo, gyro, Senwa MTS again, same charger, same battery for about 639 euros. It does sound about right. Obviously, it's more expensive because the RMX is a much better kit. So, and in comparison to the ready to run kit, so the MST ready to run kit is around 400 euros. Okay, there's a note here which I'm trying to understand. Okay, something about the total cost is about 400 euro. Let's see, something about let's see. Yeah, something about battery and charger. I'm assuming that says something about you can get your own battery and charger as you need. Let's see. Okay, something about power. And then something about the beginning. Okay, I don't understand the other stuff because the words are in Dutch and it's not anywhere near close to Afrikaans, so I can't understand it. But yeah, okay, so Basic Plus with the RMX kit and you yourself putting together the electronics for it. So around about 640 euros sounds about right if you're buying everything new. The prices here are pretty much spot on as well. Uh, what I can say about the Basic Plus kit is that it's going to give you a very enjoyable experience, exactly pretty much the experience that you are seeing on those videos that you see on YouTube, especially if you're one of those guys that loves RC drifting but doesn't have any gear and really wants to get into it. This is what these are the this is the gear that the guys are using. So you want to get into it, you want to do it like we are doing, then you gotta pay the price, man. Hey James, oh no, it's cool, buddy. Um, yeah, I experienced some heavy technical difficulties trying to stream onto YouTube from my phone, and it just wasn't working for some reason. So that's why I switched over to Facebook. But that's gonna change in the next 1 or 2 weeks. So it's gonna be a much better show, and everything will be spot on very very soon. So I won't be using my phone anymore to do the podcast. So I'm very excited about that. I will bring you all the details as soon as everything comes together. Okay, so we got so that was Basic Plus with the RMX with the MSC kit. Then you got the exact same thing, Basic Plus, but with the Yokomo kit. So it's just with your standard Yokomo YD2 S or E. In this case, it's just listed as the YD2. So I think that would be like the original, the OG YD2, the first gen. And the prices are exactly the same. It's just MST and Yokomo. 640 euros sounds about right. Uh, then we move on to the series chassis. Uh, now, for the series chassis, we're looking at approximately 1,115 euros, which makes complete sense. And I'll tell you why. Because looking at my chassis and the parts that have gone into it, I can definitely say, yeah, that's about right. So we got the Yokomo YD2 Plus. That's already a cracking version of the Yokomo's in the Yokomo series. Then you got the OMG Epic 10.5 ton motor. I have the same motor. Brilliant. Um, uh, Great performance. Handles really well. No issues whatsoever. OMG Polaris 120 amp. Okay, I think that's one of the newer ESCs in the old OMG from the OMG manufacturer. I haven't used it, but I've heard good things about the ESC. Then the OMG Predator, that's your servo. Again, I haven't heard too much about the Predator servo. I'd love to try it out. But yeah, I haven't heard too much about that. I do believe though that it is, from the little that I've seen, I do believe that it's quite a good servo. So it really is up to you. Then we got the Yokomo 302 version 4 gyro, which is always a good option. That's been a brilliant gyro for a number of years now. So that's really cool. Then we got the Sanwa MT44 radio, another brilliant. I'm a little bit impartial to the Sanwa radios, probably because it holds some sentimental value with me. But yeah, Sanwa MT44, brilliant radio. You're not going to have any problems with that. Great performance, nice range of options to adjust and fine tune your your throttle, your response, and etc. And then see T200 a charger and a 5100 milliamp 120C lipo. Yeah. So all in all, that package, 1,115 euros. Again, this is just a guide uh, to give you an idea of what you can expect the moment you go over to one of the more serious, more competitive chassis. Now, with that being said, I'd just like to say that this list is a really good indication of what you can expect if you want to do RC drifting like really well. You wanna really get into it. And at the same time, and in my opinion, all of these chassis are comp capable setups. You can go into a comp and you would be able to perform well. Obviously, it's going to depend on your driver skill as well as your electronics and upgrades and stuff, because it's common knowledge that the upgrades do add to performance, and the better electronics obviously give you a much better range of performance and adjustability and tuning ability. So uh, you know, the better stuff is there for a reason, and it's to give you an edge over the competition. It's a lot like with on-road racing, and this is something I've heard from multiple guys who've been in on-road racing, that if you want to be number one, you got to get the number one stuff. So you got to have the best to be the best. And with RC drifting, it's slightly different because you don't necessarily have to get the absolute best to be the best. So I mean, we've seen upsets happening. I've seen upsets happening locally as well, where we had guys who are really good drifters but don't necessarily have the best equipment and still doing really really well. So that's so these this list of chassis here definitely will give you a good time. And finally, the last, we saved the best for last. So we got like the serious alles. So everything high end to the T. So we got the Yokomo YD2 SX3. So we know that's the flagship model of the in the Yokomo line of YD2 chassis, YD2 drift chassis. That's excluding the new RRX, but I can say that, and I'm sure a number of you will agree, that the Yokomo YD2, the SX3, is pretty much the highest end and the flagship model of the Yokomo range. Then we got the Acuvance Fledge motor. I'm sure James will agree that the Fledge motor is really really good, high end. I'm not sure if it's a more torque orientated uh, motor, but I know that it's definitely right up there, man. Then we got the Acuvance Jarvis XX. So that's the latest release from Acuvance, and it's a complete upgrade on the previous Acuvance Jarvis ESC. I have the Jarvis, which I'm very very proud of owning. I know it's silly, it's a bit childish, but every time I see this Acuvance ESC of mine, it just I get a little sparkle in my eye. I love it. I love it to bits. It's absolutely brilliant. It's been something. Uh, okay, so since I really got myself into RC drifting, I've always uh, been checking around the globe for all the high-end electronics and chassis and rare parts, and just looking at everything and just marveling at it. And and I've always looked at the Jarvis ESC and wondered like, wow. I wish I could have one of those. And then eventually I managed to get one. And a huge shout out to Rob Fischetti for hooking me up there. He was instrumental in me getting that ESC as well, and instrumental in me getting the Tau 2 program card for it. So big shout out to you, man. Thanks so much for that. Um, so yeah, the Java's ESC, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant performing ESC. Not a day's trouble with it. And then you got the Java's XX. So it's like the Java's on steroids, in my opinion. Then we got the Yokomo SPO3D. So that's the programmable Yoko um, servo. If I'm wrong, please correct me, because I'm quite sure the SPO3 is the programmable one. Because I know you get the brushless, coreless servo as well. But yeah, that's a really good one. That's a really really good servo there. Then we got the overdose Dias or Dies, DAIS, Dies. I don't know. How do you pronounce it? How do you guys pronounce it? The Dies Gyro. So that's been yeah, that's produced by Overdose. I believe it's the same company as Keo Pro, if I'm not mistaken. Because if you look at both the gyros, they're like basically the same. However, I think, and I stand to be corrected, I think the Overdose has different software compared to the KO Pro. I don't know. You guys let me know. That's beyond my reach at the moment. I've got to save up for like a couple of years to afford that one. Uh, okay, I'm joking. Not a couple of years, but I got to save up for that, and I'd love to get my hands on one of those. Then the ultimates in in radios in RXs. No, it's the same. Wolf. Okay, thank you for confirming, brother. Okay, so it's confirmed. The KO Propo and the Overdose Dice gyros are exactly the same. It's only branded. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. So I suppose it's also like the Overdose motors and the Accuvance motors. They're the same. It's just branding. Okay, cool. The Futaba T7PX. What a beautiful, beautiful radio, man. This thing is the bee's knees and more. And uh, after this, I mean, not too long after the 7PX, they released the 7PXR, which I believe is even better than the 7PX. Maybe James can chime in about that. I think he has the 7PXR, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, the 7PX, brilliant, brilliant radio. I think it's the best performing radio at the moment for RC drifting. Hey, what's up, Ricky? Uh, so Ricky has joined us from the United States as well, and if for the guys that don't know Ricky too well, he is the man behind DNRC, and recently he just became a dad as well. He's had a little girl. Um, so congratulations to you, Ricky, my man. You and Alina. Wish you guys well on your little bundle of joy, and also keep DNRC going, man. You're doing some nice stuff out there, brother. So keep it up, keep it going. Okay, then we got the Sky RC T200 charger again. With the chargers, it's all on you, man. You can chop and change there. And then the Genze's Redline 51 looks like a 5100 milliamp battery. I think that's about a 120C. That's so. For a system like this, you need some proper power to to help your electronics perform at its peak. Just remember just keep in mind, when you upgrade your electronics and you get to the higher end electronics, you need to also upgrade your source of power so that you can get the maximum performance out of your electronics. And this is something that I've recently discovered myself. I've kind of ignored it a little bit. I was using a 60C battery, and although it was giving me fairly decent performance, it was only until I bought my a new battery with a 100C discharge that I realized that, oh shoot, I'm actually missing out. So the higher discharge battery provides more power to your ESC and your electronics, and this in turn gives you better performance of your ESC. So like I say, you'll get the maximum performance out of your high end electronics. So just remember, you upgrade to high end electronics, you need to upgrade your source of power. Thanks, Ricky, my man. I really appreciate, bro. How's it, Shian? How you doing, my man? Long time no see. When you coming back? When you joining us, man? We missing the guys. You guys are all like gone off in your own places, man. Come join us again. It's gonna be awesome. The track is still there. We're keeping the track alive. I am planning a couple of events for the year, and hopefully things work out. So be just keep an eye out for those events. And we just want to keep RC drifting going, man. I mean, it's a hobby that's brought so much of joy to everybody, and it's just so awesome, man. I don't know how else to say it. It's just so awesome. Okay, so just to finish off the serious Alice chassis, um, that kit will land you about just shy of 2,000 euros. And if you keep track, or if you go and do your own research into those products, you will see for yourself that, yeah, that's about right. Obviously, again, you can shop around. You don't necessarily have to use the Acuvance Fledge motors. You don't have to use the Acuvance Jarvis ESC. You could go for the Yokomo combo, uh, like a BL Pro 4 combo, or maybe the RPX2 ESC. That's pretty cracking. That's pretty banging. Yeah, you could also go for the Hobbywing XR10 Pro, which is also a fantastic ESC. So you can chop and change there, but basically that cost 1,995 euros. Yeah, even if you chop and change with other high-end electronics, you that's about the cost you're looking at. Okay, so there's some other notes here on this list from Tory Circuit, all in Dutch, that I'm going to try and understand, and I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce. Um, let's see. Okay, so basically it's something like, and I'm going to take a wild stab at this. So this is going to make all you guys from Netherlands laugh, and all those guys from Tory Circuit laugh as well. Okay, so it's something like, okay, so this is what you need as a beginner for RC drifting. Uh, Het is niet makkelijk om zelf te vinden wat je nodig hebt. Dus we hebben hier één document voor je waar je alles kan vinden. Okay, so I kind of understand that. Okay, so basically what they're saying is that, okay, all the information is in one document that you can find. Okay, I'm going to try the next one. Dit zijn allemaal producten waar we ervaring meer hebben en waarvan we vinden dat ze goed zijn om mee te beginnen of voor een wat serieuze setup. Jeepers. I'm sure I butchered it, and I'm so sorry. But uh, look, I like languages. I like accents as well. So because Dutch is close to Afrikaans, I think I kind of feel some way towards it. Okay, so something about all the products that you can find from the begin. Oh, okay, okay. So I think it is basically something about all the products that you will find that's good from beginner from the beginner right to a serious setup. And at the last part, I'm not gonna try again. So the last part it says do you have more questions? Send us. Um, I'm sure that means message. So send us a message via Facebook or Instagram, or you can send an email to info@tori-circuit.com. Yeah. Okay, wait, Perry replies. Okay. See, I knew you're gonna laugh. I knew. I wrote the thing and don't know what he's talking about. Yeah, because I pronounced all the words completely wrong. But I think I kind of got the gist of what you read. So once again, thank you, Perry, for uh, giving me permission to view this lovely document that you guys at Tori Circuit put together, just to give guys an idea of what you can expect in terms of cost when you're putting together an RC drifting kit. Whether you are a beginner or uh, a serious drifter. So from my experience, those who are serious drifters or who become serious drifters always start off with something like a basic, so like a Sakura D5 or like a basic plus with the Yokomo or MSC chassis, and then not necessarily buy a whole new chassis, but then just either upgrade the chassis or upgrade the electronics, and then sell off, use another chassis, perhaps give to somebody else and bring them up. So while you come up, so I've been very fortunate enough to have experienced the warmth and generosity of the RC drifting community, and with that, it's inspired me to obviously pay it forward and do the same. So as much as I can, I try and not sell off my older stuff or things that I'm not using, and try and give it to those uh, uh, who are beginning or who are genuinely into the hobby and uh, want to pick themselves up in the hobby, or perhaps sometimes I may have something in a beginner line, so I just give it to them like, oh, here's what I have, go for it. I try and do unto me, do unto others as was done unto me. Yeah, something like that. So yeah, very rewarding when you are able to uh, do something like that and make other people happy. Uh, and that's one of the reasons why I'm still in the RC drifting hobby. It's not only because it's finally something that I can do right and I'm like fairly good at. It's also the so many people I've met and so many friends I've made, and obviously also because I get to do this podcasting, which is something that I've been wanting to do for a while and finally got round to doing. And I can only keep this going because of you guys. So it, I'm here literally because of you guys' support and pushing me and motivating me when I'm feeling low about my podcast, like a little while ago. when or a little earlier actually, when I was having these issues trying to get the stream up and trying to get it on YouTube, working on YouTube, and for God knows whatever reason, it just wasn't working and it was driving me nuts. So, which is why I swapped over to Facebook. But not to worry, I had some help with that as well, and soon I'll be up and running with no trouble up on YouTube, and definitely be bringing you a much more um, professional looking podcast, if I can put it that way. Well, I'm gonna try. So yeah, man. Um, Thank you everybody once again for joining me on the B Rock RC show. It's been awesome. Thank you for all the help with the information and uh, for indulging me in butchering your lovely language. I'm so sorry, Perry. Really, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna try and learn at least a few more phrases of Dutch. So that I can I can converse with you a little better. I am learning some Japanese. I'm not going to attempt it right now, though. I'm better at typing it out. So it's been a really good episode, I think. Thank you to everybody for joining in. It's only a pleasure, man. That's what I try to do. I try to bring smiles on everybody, be it whichever way. I don't mind making myself a clown in order to make other people happy. Because for me, to see other people happy makes me happy. So thank you so much for that. To all the guys that just joined in, this is Bob Rock, and this is the B Rock RC Show, a live podcast for the drifters by a drifter. Um, Unfortunately, you kind of caught me right at the end of the show when we're actually closing up, but I really do appreciate you guys joining in. You can catch me at the same time, 9:30 South African time, at yeah, 21:30 CAT live. It's going to be live on YouTube. So the only reason I'm hosting it on Facebook again is because I had issues with getting onto YouTube. But I'm going to have that all sorted out and make sure that it's going to be live from YouTube next week. That's going to bring us to episode 4 of season 2. Thank you guys once again for joining in and for all your support. Much love to all of you all over the world. Oh, Dennis, I'm so sorry, bro. I mean, I saw you earlier, and then we had that stupid break in between. Anyway, what's done is done. But yeah, Dennis is just quickly. Dennis is one of the first guys I started chatting with a little bit, like she's a few years ago, and I was very happy that I made it to Worlds and finally got to meet him as well. What a guy! Incredible drifter as well. It's been a pleasure watching him drift at Worlds as well. So thank you again to everybody for joining in. This is me signing off, your boy Bob Rock, and this is the B Rock RC Show, a live podcast for the drifters by a drifter. Peace.